Consider the best.
Phil Baroni's not a good guy.
Every fighter has a certain amount of crazy. Some guys, their crazy burns them down. It burns down everything around them.
People around here don't get it. I'm the man. I'm the shit.
Is he in jail right now?
Baroni's in jail for, allegedly,
murder,
killing
yeah.
Bad too.
Oh.
Beating to death.
It's brutal, man.
He killed a female who was from there, who owned a little grocery store, who has 2 young kids.
Just awful. And CTE comes into play, then there's a lot of guys that just get real impulsive. They become addicts. They fuck up.
Bro, why would y'all put this in the beginning of the video, bro? Why y'all be doing this to me? Flashback MMA, bro. What's up?
All relationship.
Baroni left a boy without a mom and loved ones suffering.
Damn.
If born on
Hey man, hit that subscribe button, hit notification bell, bro. I appreciate everybody who support the channel. Check the playlists to watch any of the old videos of the old legends, bro. But
April 16th, 1976 in Massapequa, Long Island, New York, Phil Baroni grew up in a stable household, but quickly earned a reputation for street fights and toughness.
And Phil, as a young guy, was a tough, scrappy kid.
Ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be the fighting champion, whether it was boxing or pro wrestling or whatever. That was just what I always wanted to do.
He wrestled at Massapequa High School.
Since 7th grade, I wrestled.
For sure.
I wanted to be the baddest guy on the planet. I wanted to be the toughest. So, wrestling was what I was into. I loved it.
Then became a 2-time All-American at Nassau Community College before being expelled in his senior year.
Freshman and sophomore year, I took 5th and 2nd in the nation, you know what I mean? Division I wrestling. But then I got into the MMA and I wanted to do that. And I'd be training jiu-jitsu and shit. Coaches would be getting pissed at me, you know what I mean? I ended up knocking out my college wrestling coach. And I was bringing in the boxing gloves and I was beating up everyone on the team.
not his college wrestling.
One day he was in there in the wrestling room and I put on the gloves and I knocked his ass out. Wow. I brought in the big gloves and I had to transfer.
Baroni briefly attended Hofstra University, then secured a scholarship to Central Michigan University, where he double majored in biology and psychology.
I used to have a job where I used to move money, collect. It was a little setup, and I got jumped. They tried to get the money, this and that, and I wouldn't give it up. I got cut in the back of the head, pulled my way out of it and ran. I got stabbed in the shoulder too, but I survived and moved to Michigan. Kind of how I transferred at Hofstra. Michigan, the rest of it.
Phil Baroni got nicknamed the Badass of New York. If you don't know who Phil was, he was raised since he's a kid up the block from
the Gambino family hitman. If the Gambino family hitman talking about you, bro.
His father was involved with me. At about 16 years old, for the people that don't know, he lived with me. Phil got involved in some criminal activity with me, the organization, the Gambino family. So when people call him and say he's the badass or what, well, he's a badass for a lot of things. He got involved in scores with me. He got involved in robberies with me as a young man.
Baroni's father is not dead. He wanted nothing to do with Phil his whole life, but once he saw Phil doing good in the UFC, then all of a sudden he wanted to be in his life. They didn't have a good relationship all throughout Phil's life. That's the reason why he spent a lot of time with John A.
Outside wrestling, he competed in bodybuilding and began striking training, building an impressive combat base, a 7-0 amateur kickboxing record, and a 10-0 amateur boxing record, all knockouts. This mix of controversy,
he was stomping on his head,
training, building an impressive combat base, a 7-0 amateur kickboxing record, and a 10-0 amateur boxing record, all knockouts. This mix of controversy, raw aggression, and athletic success set the stage for his move into professional MMA by 2000.
How much MMA training did you have prior to your first fight?
Well, I was a college wrestler. I was doing some boxing and kickboxing. I had like 18 fights. All the wrestlers who were watching UFC, and I just happened to be the guy in the team that used to be a jiu-jitsu guy, so I had some training. I signed up for a fight, and then I joined the gym. 8 weeks later, I was fighting.
Baroni made his professional MMA debut on August 5th, 2000, blasting through John Hayes with a 35-second TKO.
So you took 7 months off after your first fight from mixed martial arts. Were you doing Tough Man at that time?
Well, I was doing some Tough Man too, yeah.
Phil Baroni is going to Central Michigan on a full wrestling scholarship.
Phil does this Tough Man competition, and this guy, Ole Thorson, is the guy across the ring from him. Ole ran from him the entire bout.
I knocked him down because he was running around and doing all that shit the whole time. He was looking up, I hit him with a fucking uppercut when he was on the ground.
The wrestler, a bigger guy.
Oh, he's down on his back and he gets punched. What is that?
They didn't like that shit.
They didn't like that shit. Oh, he need him.
Knee to the head? This isn't ultimate fighting here, dude. Keep the knees down. Tough Man.
So was it a disqualification?
Disqualification.
And then after they raise Ole's hand, Phil goes berserk.
Fighting out of the yellow.
He said, I want to fight right now.
Ole Thorson gets the decision and Baroni's. Oh, Baroni! He's coming out!
Just weeks later, he was in the UFC.
After the fight, he said, I won't fight now.
It just blows my mind though to think that you had a fight and then you went to the
that's
UFC.
crazy.
That's really how that went.
My first UFC fight was I was 24. I got a short
Nah, he was
fight.
crazy.
I was brought in as a boxer. I was 10-0 in amateur boxing and 7-0 in kickboxing. I think that was pro. UFC number 30 replacement fighter. I was the local guy. They always used to have a local guy get their ass kicked.
At UFC 30 in February 2001, the 24-year-old outpointed Curtis Stout to earn a unanimous decision in his debut.
Congratulations on your first victory in the octagon. How'd it feel? Felt great. It's about working for it for a long time. I thank my trainer, Keith Trimble, for putting up with me and all the crap, teaching me how to fight.
And then I got kicked out of the UFC for like wrecking the bathroom or something. I got in a street fight with somebody.
A summer win on the regional
When he get so big, bro? What the
circuit pushed his record to 3-0.
On Ken Shamrock's show, killed some really tough dude that Joe Silva was really impressed with, this Russian dude. So UFC brought me back and put me against Matt Lindland, the Olympic silver medalist.
Phil was one of the original guys to have a gimmick. Phil used to come out, he'd wear a robe like a boxer would wear, and he would dance a little bit on the way to the ring, and he was the New York badass, and he would hire his own girls. They'd like dance him to the ring like a pro wrestler. That might sound silly for you, but at that time, that was wildly entertaining.
In November 2001, Baroni suffered his first loss, dropping a decision to Olympic wrestler Matt Lindland at UFC 34, the start of a heated rivalry.
Yeah, I won that fucking fight, dude. Totally won that fight.
They go out, they have their match, Matt beats him. So the next thing you know, Phil comes out to Team Quest to train with us. He was actually living at the gym. It had a shower and had somewhere to cook food.
What's the best part of fight life for you right now?
Man, shower. I would have to say shower. Wake up every day, run 6 miles, then a shower, eat, then go to the gym, work out hard, mitts, technique, then shower. So that's
then
pretty good.
shower.
I ain't training like you saw. And shower. So pretty much the best part of my day is shower.
He rebounded at UFC 37 in May 2002, stopping Amar Suloev in under 3 minutes.
Oh!
Cannot knee a down opponent.
He was crazy. Nah, he was crazy.
You need time? Continue. Here we go.
I can't believe Baroni came back from that knee. And look at the run.
Going the rights now. Raining it down.
He is down.
He stopped the fight. Baroni really fought through, and he reigns victorious.
You took some big shots. You took that knee. Second, but you came back. You came right back. I wasn't hurt, bro. I was fine. I took no big shots. I'm the best 185-pounder in the world. Line him up and I knock him down.
Then came his breakout moment. At UFC
185
39, Baroni demolished former champion Dave Mene in just 18 seconds with a furious knockout.
He's out the man.
Saw some hand speed tonight. Talk to
relax,
me, man.
relax. No one wants to hear what you got to say. I'm the future champion. Hey, Lindland, I got a right hand with your name on it. I'm the man. I want my fucking belt.
A brash, unforgettable celebration.
Nah, he's crazy. Nah, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Post for sure, ski.
That captured his cocky New York persona and cemented him as one of the UFC's most talked about prospects.
I turned around and the fight was over. And he jumped up on the cage and tell him what you said. Tell him what you told the world.
That was the best ever. I just had to tell the world, what was up.
In February 2003, Baroni tried to avenge his loss to Matt Lindland at UFC 41, but Lindland's wrestling again shut him down, handing Baroni his second defeat. Later that year at UFC 45, he met Evan Tanner.
Something happened between him and Evan Tanner. They start hitting each other so hard, and Randy Couture was in the room. He had to stop what he was doing and go over and break these two up. And then Phil Baroni leaves, and he turns on the whole gym. So next thing you know, Phil's gonna go fight Evan Tanner.
And that situation where you ended up striking an official and being suspended for a number of months, what was the
striking an official?
The official was horrible. He ended up getting fired. That was the fight for the number one contender for the title, and the ref stopped the fight, and I punched him in the face.
After a strong
swear
start,
to
referee
God.
Larry Landless paused the action to check a cut, giving Tanner time to recover.
Phil is literally about to finish Evan Tanner. Rather than allowing the fight to continue, Landless steps in and says, "Stop! We got to let the doctor look at Evan."
What?
They're going to check the cut under Evan Tanner's left eye.
I mean, I had a knockout. If I win that fight, now I'm fighting for the UFC championship. It makes no sense to fucking stop the fight when I'm throwing punches at the guy to check the cut.
Yeah, you don't do that.
He fucked up.
Once the
Why
fight
the fuck would you stop the? Why would you? Yeah, that was kind of Why would you stop the fight? The chick, come, what is you? I'm beating him up. He got a cut because I'm beating him up. Let me finish beating him up.
over and the referees stopped it while Baroni was still conscious. Furious, Baroni struck the referee, a serious breach that earned him a 4-month suspension and damaged his reputation, casting him as an aggressive hothead in the eyes of fans.
Bro, that referee cheated, I'm not gonna lie.
Full on.
And John McCarthy. I ain't gonna lie, John McCarthy, bro, it's been like a couple videos, he be on bullshit, I ain't gonna lie. I like John McCarthy though, but he be on bullshit. Him and his wife, but he be on bullshit.
He was trying to hold me down. So when he put his knee in my belly, I was like, get the fuck off me. He was trying to like pin me down to like make it look like he didn't stop the fight fucked up. So that's when I started trying to punch him in the face.
It looks like Phil thought he was saying, "Are you okay?" And Phil said, "Yeah." And Larry was asking, "Do you want out?"
You got suspended for 4 months.
They wanted to suspend me for a year, but I hired a lawyer and I spent my whole purse. Yeah, for nothing, you know what I mean? Just a bunch of bullshit, man.
But Dana White goes in there and he just, calm the fuck down, Phil. Calm down.
What Phil thought he was saying was, "No, stop asking me. Fucking relax, Phil."
And to Phil's credit,
he said, I said no.
When the suspension ended, Baroni got a rematch with Tanner at UFC 48 in June 2004, but lost a unanimous decision. By February 2005, he was on a 3-fight skid. Facing Pete Sell at UFC 51, Baroni came in under coach Enson Inoue, looked sharp early, and scored takedowns. But in the 3rd round was caught in a guillotine choke. He briefly refused to tap, even appearing to go out before finally submitting, the only tap-out loss of his career. It was his 4th straight defeat, dropping his UFC record to 3-5, and he was released. Baroni quickly rebounded with a rare armbar win on a smaller Ohio card in March 2005. This kept his overall record at 6-5 and opened the door for a move to Japan, where a new chapter of his career awaited. After leaving the UFC, Baroni headed to Japan in 2005, joining Mark Coleman's Hammer House camp and competing in Pride's 183-pound division.
If you don't know, Phil Baroni was a major part of Team Hammer House a few years back, but they were a force in the Pride days. Him, Mark Coleman, Wes Sims, Kevin Randleman, Phil Baroni.
My legends right there.
They were a faction.
I broke into the Hammer House when Mark Coleman happened to be in Las Vegas training for a fight. The first day he was at a jiu-jitsu school, I noticed he was waiting for a cab. So the next day I'm like, man, fuck that. Where you staying?
I can't believe he was actually punching on John McCarthy though. He was punching on him. Nah, he was mad. Nah, John McCarthy, yeah.
So I just decided to give him a ride home.
I was basically, Coleman's big fan, and I was his chauffeur for his training camp.
Then I asked him to corner me for my UFC fight, and it didn't go so well. And then he saw I was down and out, and he got me in Pride. And I was a member of the Hammer House ever since then.
It was Hammer House versus the world. We were taking on the bad guys, Vanderlei Silva, Shogun, Ninja.
The shoebox was like,
them
was
Brazilians,
guys
boy.
from Brazil.
They was coming.
And in Japan, they were doing whatever the fuck they wanted. They're running around and kicking people's asses and causing havoc. It was really like the Wild Wild West of Pride.
He made an immediate impact, finishing Ikuhisa Minowa with stomps at Bushido 7, knocking out Ryo Chonin in just 140 at Bushido 8, and starching Yuki Kondo in only 25 seconds the following year. These brutal KOs quickly made him a foreign fan favorite. Baroni's rivalry with Minowa continued in the 2005 Pride Welterweight Grand Prix, where Minowa edged him out by unanimous decision to eliminate him from the tournament. Still, Baroni remained a staple in Pride, and at Pride 32, the promotion's first US event, he surprised everyone by submitting Yosuke Nishijima with a Kimura. Later, he admitted he had learned the move from watching TV just days earlier. The unlikely submission, along with his knockouts, helped Baroni rebuild his career and confidence during his Pride run. With Pride shutting down in 2007 after its sale to the UFC's parent company, Baroni suddenly found himself without a home promotion.
Like after Pride, unfortunately, Strikeforce bought my fucking contract. So all the other guys got to go to the UFC, and I was stuck fucking Strikeforce, where I really didn't want to be. I wanted to be in the UFC. You know what I mean? I lived in Las Vegas.
I think like you mentored John Copenhagen, right? You know,
Yeah, War Machine, Alex Karalexis, all those guys trained under me in Las Vegas. And I was still friends with Dana, and I was saying I got these kids here, and I got War Machine, all those guys are in the Ultimate Fighter.
Rather than fading away, in 2007, Baroni headlined a high-profile grudge match with MMA pioneer Frank Shamrock at Strikeforce.
You gonna get Frank Shamrock?
Trash talk,
yeah.
And Baroni embraced the villain role. On fight night, Shamrock's experience showed. He dropped Baroni in round 1 and finished him in round 2 with a rear naked choke.
Damn.
True to his persona, Baroni refused to tap and went unconscious, losing by technical submission. The drama continued afterward when the California Commission announced Baroni had tested positive for boldenone and stanozolol. He was fined $2,500 and suspended for 1 year, later reduced to 6 months after appeal. Baroni even attempted to challenge the results by requesting DNA testing on the urine sample, but there wasn't enough left to test. The failed defense cemented the positive test, marking a serious blow to his career. Between the Shamrock loss and the steroid scandal, 2007 became the turning point where Baroni's climb toward the elite gave way to a sharp decline. Baroni returned in 2008 as a veteran for hire, starting with a shot at the Icon Sport middleweight title in Hawaii against Kala Jose. He looked sharp early, but his gas tank betrayed him again, and Jose overwhelmed him in the 5th round for a TKO.
It was like you were a hot free agent, right?
Yeah, I was making $40,000 to $60,000 bouncing around.
2 months later, Baroni made history fighting Joey Villaseñor on the first MMA card broadcast on U.S. network television, Elite XC. Dropping to 170 pounds, Baroni was stopped just 71 seconds into the fight, raising new doubts about his durability.
Everybody else was doing supplements, and I was trying to get my wife pregnant for 10 years, so that's why I was fighting 170. 185 was my weight, you know?
Refusing to fade, Baroni jumped to the UK's Cage Rage. After nearly submitting Scott Jansen with an armbar, he landed a thunderous right hand that knocked Jansen out cold.
Ooh.
Chaos followed when Jansen's brother stormed the cage and headbutted Baroni, sparking a...
What the fuck?
Chaos followed when Jansen's brother stormed the cage and headbutted Baroni, sparking a brief melee.
Wow. What ending? This idiot just nutted Phil Baroni.
After the bout, Johnson's brother wasn't real happy, the decision. I mean, obviously he won by first round KO, and throws a headbutt your way, being red.
I fucked him up. I don't know why. I didn't know why I didn't smash him.
Even in victory,
you should have
Chaos
smashed
seemed
him.
to follow him. Baroni
Sleep.
kept busy,
That nigga
picking
dead
up
on
two more wins on
that nigga dead on the canvas, man.
I didn't know why I didn't
Sleep. Hold on. We're gonna go back just to make fun of him some more.
I fucked him up. I don't know why. I didn't know why I didn't smash him.
Even in victory, Chaos seemed to follow him. Baroni kept busy, picking up 2 more wins on smaller shows, including a decision over Olaf Alfonso to close 2008 on a 3-fight streak. With 4 wins and 6 outings that year, he had steadied his career and earned another look from bigger promotions. In June 2009, Baroni stepped back up in competition against fellow veteran Joe Riggs at Strikeforce, but after 3 rounds, Riggs' speed and technique carried him to a unanimous decision. The loss snapped Baroni's momentum, but his name value still mattered. Later that year, the UFC re-signed him, capitalizing on his brash persona and early 2000s legacy.
Going back to the UFC, you kind of had that second chapter there, but it was
bullshit. That was fucking bullshit. Right? Joseph could suck my dick.
At UFC 106, Baroni faced Amir Sadola.
Amir is fighting at 205 pounds, fights Chuck Liddell, and he comes down a weight class, and his first fight is Phil Baroni.
I was supposed to get my ass kicked that time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you were being brought in to win.
Charging forward with his trademark aggression but being picked apart over 3 rounds by Sadola's kicks and knees, the unanimous decision loss left him 0-1 in his UFC return. Determined to improve, Baroni spent 2 months at Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket, sharpening his striking and conditioning, and moved back up to middleweight. A scheduled fight with John Salter in 2010 fell through due to injury, leaving his final UFC bout to come at UFC 125 on January 1st, 2011. Against young prospect Brad Tavares, Baroni dropped him early with a left hook, but was stopped later in the round by a head kick and flurry. Admitting afterward that he expected to be cut, Baroni was released.
I'm pretty disappointed. I'm pretty upset. 34 years old, you don't want to go back to the minor leagues, but I mean, what am I going to do?
Why are you sure that you're going to get released?
It's just the way they do things, you know. I mean, it's business, you know.
Closing his second UFC run with a record of 3-7 overall. This marked the end of his time at the sport's elite level and pushed him toward the journeyman phase of his career.
So were you officially released from the UFC?
Yeah, I spoke to Joe Silva, gave me a nice pep talk, and basically gave me walking papers and sent me away. But, you know, that's the business. Where I'm going now is back to the journeyman circuit.
How do they tell you that you're cut? When does that conversation take place?
Dana called me in to his office. I went to his office and he told me, yeah, I should retire. I was like, yeah, right, motherfucker. What else am I going to do?
He really told you to retire?
Yeah. Begging.
Yeah, that's what Danny going to do.
Weird as shit.
Nobody should fucking be able to tell me I can fight or not. It's my life. It's my choice.
That's a fact.
Who has the right to tell me what I can or cannot do?
After his UFC release, Baroni signed with Titan FC in 2011 and won his debut before injuries slowed him. He resurfaced in ONE FC, where he scored a 60-second knockout of Rodrigo Ribeiro, but otherwise struggled, leaving his record at 15-17. In 2014, Baroni signed with Bellator MMA, debuting against Karo Parisian
2017?
122. Parisian stopped him by first-round TKO, and at 38 years old, Baroni's run in major promotions was over. Adding insult to injury, his Bellator stint ended in controversy outside the cage. That August, he publicly defended his friend War Machine, who had just been arrested for the violent assault of his ex-girlfriend.
War Machine, the one guy to show up at his trial, to be there for him. And again, you show me your friends, you show me who you are. And it was Phil Baroni. Now, Phil Baroni is not a good guy.
What you see right there is a picture of War Machine. And what you see behind him is Phil Baroni in the court showing support for his boy, where War Machine was facing attempted murder charges with loyalty before royalty, and then hashtag, I shit you not, G's up, hose down.
Baroni's comments, which seemed to excuse domestic violence, sparked outrage. With War Machine later convicted of rape, kidnapping, and battery, Bellator quickly cut ties.
Damn! War Machine. I ain't never heard of War Machine. Dang. That's insane. Damn.
By the end of 2014, he was not only physically past his prime, but also increasingly isolated by his own controversial behavior. After leaving Bellator in 2014, Baroni fought only sporadically, scoring a 24-second KO in King of the Cage in 2018, before losing his final fight in 2019 at Rebel FC, retiring with a 16-19 record after nearly 20 years in the sport. Outside the cage, he worked as a guest commentator, dabbled in pro wrestling, even tag teaming with Stephan Bonner and later appearing at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, and briefly tried bare-knuckle boxing, losing to Chris Lieben in 2018 for pulling out of a planned 2020 fight with Thiago Alves. By 2021, he had settled in Nayarit, Mexico, living with his girlfriend and seemingly slipping into quiet retirement.
So, Phil, how is life down south of the border, down Mexico way?
Good. Living the dream, brother.
The man that brought the electricity, that brought the energy, that brought the entertainment to the Ultimate Fighting Championships was my good friend, the New York badass Phil Baroni.
His nose is like...
I remember as a tough fighter, if I remember, the kid that, got in there and he fought with a lot of guts. He never found a soft spot. Never quit in a fight. Maybe in the next couple of years, I'll be slurring my speech a lot more than a lot of these other guys, and maybe I'll be walking with a limp, and maybe I won't remember my kids' names, but they can say that their daddy never quit. So look at it that way.
Who is in your mind like the greatest ever? Who's the guy you've seen and you're like, that guy? Like, if I have to pick, that's the guy.
Me. I think I'm the most successful athlete in MMA in the outside fighting sports. I don't think anyone has competed in individual sports like I have.
But in early 2023, Baroni's name would return to headlines for the darkest reason of his life. On January 1st, 2023, the story of Phil Baroni took its darkest turn.
Baroni's in jail for, allegedly murder in Mexico.
It was like a bad one too.
Oh.
Like beating to death.
Oh yeah. It's brutal, man.
It's just awful.
Living in San Francisco Nayarit in western Mexico, Baroni was arrested and accused of murdering his girlfriend. What police described was grim. After an argument, Baroni allegedly threw her into the shower with such force that she sustained catastrophic injuries. Hours later, she was found bruised and bloodied on a bed, unresponsive, and declared dead at the scene.
Phil Baroni's story was that they were on New Year's Day, he had smoked some marijuana, and they got into a fight, or he said that she told him that she'd been sleeping with someone else, and he snapped, and he threw her into the shower, where she hit her head, and then she laid there, and then he said that he He helped her up. He took her to the bed. He took her clothes off, put a sheet on her, and then she asked him for a cigarette and a beer. He went out to go get her a cigarette and a beer, and then he brought them back, and when he came back, she had no vitals.
Authorities classified the case as aggravated femicide, a charge under Mexican law reserved for gender-based killings. Shockingly, it was Baroni himself who reportedly called the police, telling them that an argument had spiraled out of control.
You're talking about a man's life. You're talking about a woman.
Damn! Gender-based killing and missing. Just walk away, fellas.
Let justice run its course.
Damn.
And the first thing that came out to me, jumped out to me, is if you're going to kill somebody, you either leave that scene and take off on a hop because you panic, or you don't panic and you clean up that scene. Phil Baroni did none of that. Phil Baroni left the room, went to a store to buy beer. He comes back to the room, and somebody else came in that room and murdered this girl.
But investigators found evidence that painted a darker picture. A forensic examination revealed that Baroni's girlfriend had at least 37 distinct injuries consistent with a sustained beating.
The details from the crime scene come out, and some pictures as well of his hands as an example. And what the police say is that there was clear signs of her having been beaten. Bottom line is, his story's bullshit. He beat this girl to death. They should lock him in a fucking box forever.
The sheer scale of trauma left little doubt for prosecutors that this was not an accident.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
God damn, man. Damn.
There was an article that said that the police talked to her sister. Her sister said that she had gone and told her many times, you know, what Phil was doing to her, and showed her the bruises and showed her the injuries. And
on January 9th, 2023, a judge formally charged the 46-year-old Baroni with aggravated femicide.
He killed a female who was from there, who owned a little grocery store, who has 2 young kids. And from what the police officer was saying, that automatically will probably get him really, really injured, if not killed.
He was transferred to Venustiano Carranza State Prison in Tepic, where he has remained ever since, awaiting trial.
I talked to an attorney yesterday, and they said that he's missing some teeth since he got to jail. And I figured it was the inmates, and she's like, no, it was the officers that did it.
I'm hoping that Phil Baroni's humbled in there, but he deserves a day in court, and whatever happens to him, that's what he deserves.
you know who the biggest enemy for the Italian mob is? The Mexican cartel. If you don't think they're going to find out he murdered a Mexican lady, was in the Italian mob, I don't think he's going to live that long.
The potential consequences are staggering. Under Nairit's penal code, aggravated femicide carries a sentence of 30 to 50 years in prison. And some reports suggest that, depending on the circumstances, the penalty could stretch to 75 years.
Phil was moved into a halfway house that's run by the cartel.
And it's a costly ordeal when the extortion starts. The cartels run the police. They run the halfway houses, they run the prisons, and we were able to get Phil into a safe place, halfway house type situation.
In that halfway house, Phil can do a lot of things. He can work out, he can train people, he can bring sharmutas in.
Phil loves to smash the ladies. That's no secret.
Drugs, alcohol. Like I said, you paid the cartel hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can do and get away with a lot of things.
What happens to a lot of Americans is once they can no longer extort you, they send you there to die.
Now, Phil's family insists that Phil is innocent.
For Baroni, who will be 50 in 2026, a conviction would almost certainly mean spending the rest of his life.
Yeah, he might well go ahead.
He's not a killer. He was never a killer.
The reaction across the MMA world was one of disbelief and sadness.
So he wants to believe that he left, he threw it in the tub, then left, and then somebody did that to it, and he came back and see that.
For a long, long time. He's always been a little off, a little high strung, very temperamental, yes, very.
John
Baroni had long been known for his impulsive streak and brushes with controversy, but few could have imagined such a violent
This is crazy
endgame.
though, I ain't gonna lie.
Well, it turns out he went to Mexico with his girlfriend from New York, beat her up. She went back, pressed charges on him, and now he's wanted in New York. But then he stayed there and he killed Paula.
His past now seemed like foreshadowing.
Damn!
The hot-headed fighter who once struck a referee in the UFC, who failed a steroid test in Strikeforce, who defended his friend War Machine after that fighter's brutal assault on a partner, now stood accused of an even graver crime himself. For many, it was a chilling realization of how the lines between persona and reality can blur. As of 2025, Baroni remains behind bars in Tepic. Reports suggest he has proclaimed his innocence through his lawyer, framing the tragedy as a fight gone wrong. But the evidence compiled by Mexican prosecutors appears damning. Delays in the court system have stretched out proceedings, yet authorities seem confident in securing a conviction. In the meantime, Baroni's once vibrant combat sports legacy has been completely overshadowed by the brutality of the charges against him. It is a tragic and cautionary final chapter. The same fighter who once leapt onto the cage screaming, after an 18-second knockout now sits in a prison cell, facing decades of confinement. For fans and fighters alike, the fall of Phil Baroni is both a reminder of his explosive highs in the cage.
He took hits like no one else had because he didn't care about getting hit in the head. You take his criminal history as a kid, and you take alcohol, drugs, and it's not an excuse for what he did, but you just start to think like this is what made him do it.
And a stark lesson in how violence outside of it can consume a life entirely.
Everyone that I could possibly reach, I talked to them. But the one thing they all said about Phil is over the years of his life, they saw the changes in him mentally. Said the same thing. He would stutter his words. He would be slower when he would speak. He couldn't put together sentences properly. Everyone said the same thing.
Today, instead of the bright lights of Madison Square Garden or Saitama Super Arena, Baroni sits confined in a Mexican prison cell, awaiting trial. In the end, he will be remembered both as a thrilling brawler who once screamed, "I'm the best ever" to the world, and as a man whose violent choices outside the cage destroyed everything he built.
This is a friend of Baroni, and Baroni reached out to him asking him, this has happened in August. He asked him for money because he wanted to go to the hospital, a special hospital, to get his head examined.
Got to go,
He knew
man.
he had an issue and he was reaching out to people for help. So he obviously knew he had CTE. I can't help but think of how bad his case of CTE must have been.
You know, you can have too much bravado. You can have too much crazy, and then it'll ruin your life.
Yeah.
But some guys, they just can't. Their crazy burns them down. It burns down everything around them. And then, you know, you got the CTE.
When Baroni left the UFC when he was 32 years old, Dana White saw the signs. And he said, you know what? You need to retire now.
Yeah, he did.
10,
He
12
did.
years after Dana originally said for him to quit because he saw the signs in him.
And CTE comes into play, then there's a lot of guys that just get real impulsive. They become addicts. They fuck up all relationships. They can't keep their shit together. They're either crying or they're angry.
There's some guys that are just bad eggs. Like
There are guys that are bad eggs, but there are guys
Rest in
for
peace to
sure
Paula,
that are bad
man.
eggs that then get CTE.
He's trying to beat the case with the CTE and that he can't remember or is crazy, but that doesn't work in Mexico. Baroni left a boy without a mom and loved ones suffering.
I heard her family did know she was being battered and abused by Baroni. I think she was too afraid to leave Baroni. Maybe he threatened her.
When I spoke to the
Let
lawyer,
me tell y'all something, man. If any lady in a relationship you getting beat on, bruh, leave, man. Call the police. Fuck that being scared of what? Get that
he
nigga
told
out
me
your
there
life.
is no way Baroni beats the case. This guy is dangerous. He should not be left free. I hope justice gets served.
Damn, bro. This is crazy. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. This is insane, bro. You get CTE, bro? The shit is real, bro. That's why I asked that question on my channel, what's more dangerous, MMA or boxing, bro? Y'all go click which one is more dangerous. I don't really, bro. Both dangerous. That's why I say it's probably equal, to be honest. I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments which one y'all think more dangerous, man. But look, I'm gonna see y'all on the next one, bro.